I think, Sophia, the pigment of somebody's skin is not a disability. There is nothing that I can do that Mwaura cannot do. There is nothing Gachagua can do that Mwaura cannot do. There is nothing Mwaura can do that we cannot do. In fact, we are going to have to revisit the definition of persons living with disability. But that's besides the point. The point is, if you have read the constitution of the party, if you are nominated by the party, if you flout the philosophy and the beliefs and the discipline of the party, look, Sophia, we would rather have a few loyal members of the party than have members who have one foot in and speaking from both sides of their mouth. My friend Gachagua was a staunch Nyayo person. Actually, he grew up in the Moi era. And he was one of the special Moi children. And he knows Moi and his disciplinary committee of Kina Okiki Amayo and Aringo and the others. You have to have discipline in a party. And if you don't like it, you can walk. There's so many examples. Mwai Kibaki walked out when he could not agree with the KANU. Matiba walked. People like Morumbi, way back in 1965, walked. Raila Odinga walked and formed his own party when he was no longer comfortable with Ford Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta walked from KANU and formed the TNA. These people don't have the guts to walk. They wanted us to create this machine for them to inherit from Uhuru Kenyatta, to come and ride on it and take power. We are saying we are cleaning our house.
You have forgiven those who have done worse.
With a few numbers.
You have forgiven others.
We have even forgiven Ruto. No, our first handshake was with William Samoei Ruto. After what they did to our people in the post-election violence, we forgot that. But we always know, and Gachagua knows, the Kikuyu saying, we can forgive, but we don't forget. People who killed our own people in church. But we shook hands and teamed up. So it's not a question of Babu Owino this or Raila Odinga this. It's about taking the country forward. And you cannot dwell on the past. You cannot drive your car with a rear view mirror. We have agreed, because there has been a congruence of an understanding between Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. They've gone back what has ailed this country, and they have the 9-point agenda. You know, these people, they are trying to sabotage the BBI. In fact, all these hulabaloo you are hearing is a distraction so that we get out of the focus for the BBI. And the BBI's main objective, and is one of the biggest legacy projects of the president, is to leave behind a united country, a country where people don't fight over disputed elections. They are sabotaging BBI. In fact, that Rigathi himself, Moses Kuria, Dede Nyoro, they voted no. When the rest of the country, 4 million Kenyans, 44 counties, the National Assembly and the Senate, in Mount Kenya, there were 12 of them. Ask them how many there were who voted no. And they know what is innate for Mount Kenya. They know the benefits for the rest of the country. They know about the fight of, against corruption.
But it passed in both houses, Vice Chair.
By the way, Sophia, this must come out. Have you ever heard these people talking about the fight against corruption? They never address that topic.
Vice Chair,
the nearest
BBI...
they come to it is to say, yes, we are corrupt, but even the other side is also corrupt.
BBI,
we have a framework in the BBI that tells you the timelines within which they are going to prosecute and finalize cases of corruption.
So, just for the record, BBI, as they voted no, passed in both houses of Parliament. I want to ask this direct question.
Yes, it did.
This direct question to you, back to our conversation, that you have the president's MP challenging him in his backyard, and we have other by-elections coming and the losses the president has witnessed of late. Yes, you say he's focusing on his development agenda, but at the end of the day, he is a politician. Do you think it's because he has gotten to a stage where he's, as many describe, lame duck, where people don't really care what position he takes, that they will do whatever they want, whatever they say, because these things would not have happened in the first term of the president? Now, we are seeing more and more dissent. Briefly.
Normally, they make the president lame duck in the first or second year of his final term. This president is becoming stronger. All the political leadership is rallying around this president. As far as people like Moses Kuria are concerned, I've had a conversation with Moses as late as today, where they are even asking him not to run a candidate in Kiambaa, and he's like, look, I have a member of parliament under PEP. How can UDA, which has no MP in the parliament, be telling me not to run a candidate against Jubilee so that I give them a through pass? Sophia, this president is not interested in sideshows. He knows the clock is ticking. He has 1 year, 4 months to go. He has set for himself a certain agenda, and he is going to see it through. You heard him today about the roads in Garsen, in Garissa, in Isiolo.
But he's a politician who is losing in terms of when it matters most on the numbers, on the ground.
Is he? No. So why does he want those numbers? Is he contesting in the next election?
You have said he's not going anywhere.
And that's why I'm saying the president is not going anywhere. He's going to be there. He will provide leadership. He is the person that Mount Kenya will be looking up to guide what is in the best interest. For example, right now, this BBI, according to the president, and those of us who went to Sagana, he explained to us that whatever happens, you are going to remove 35% from the center of whatever revenue that is collected.
All right.
And leave the central government with 65%. Today, Sophia, it is 85-15. These guys who are fighting BBI, they want the center to be left with 85% so that they can go continue looting from the center. Let the money be devolved further.
All right.
By the way, they've been distorting this thing.
Okay.
It is 35%. The ratio will be 35-65,
Vice
not
Chair,
85-15.
Vice Chair, as I bring this back to studio.
Whatever the revenue it is.
Vice Chair, as I bring this back to studio, just to point out, even as you talk about fighting BBI, one would argue nothing has stopped the president from doing that. He does not need constitutional change to be able to give that. But let me bring it to Honorable Rigathi on that point that Uhuru is officially, as president, now in his last lap, a lame duck president, that there's not much, the ground is shifting, he has lost that support, and it's now all about 2022.
I think I would tell David Murade, he said that we are competing with the president. We are not in competition with the president, unless we are told he's a candidate in the next election. And Murade says you go nowhere. I don't understand what that means, because according to the Constitution, he's supposed to retire. And that is our understanding. We are not in competition with the president. He's not a candidate. And our view is that the president should do what Kibaki did. Just concentrate on running the country. Forget about the succession and the alignments and all that. It's unnecessary. And if he does, he'll get muddled up in the politics of succession. And there will be disrespect and all that, and it's unnecessary. Most of us who have supported President Uhuru Kenyatta for many years would want him to leave office in dignity. We would want him to leave a lasting legacy. And he has done very well on matters infrastructure. And I was very happy to see him today in Lamu. We think that is where he should be, by the way. We are not in competition with the president. In fact, the president, in my view, should not be bothered about these by-elections, because this is politics. He has his job well cut out, what he needs to do to define his legacy. So these people are talking with the two sides of the mouth. On one side, they say the president is not interested in 2022. At the same time, they say he's in control and he'll be there after. So that is where the conflict is. But in my understanding, the president will follow the Constitution. He'll bring his term to an end, retire peacefully, and hopefully in dignity. And if he doesn't try to manipulate or guide or impose the next leader of this country, he'll retire in very great respect, and people will give him respect for many years to come.
Yeah.
If he decides, there are two ways. He could decide to go the Kibaki way, which in my view, if he asked me, is what I would advise him to do. Just do his work, try to revive the economy, see what he can do in the remaining 13 months, and try to get this country moving forward, and retire in respect. He could try to go the Moi way, and himself he knows, because he was part of it, and I was part of it. Murathe was part of it. We were with Uhuru, I was his PA, and Moi was trying to force Uhuru on the people. And by the time Moi was handing over, it was very murky and very disrespectful. If the president decides to go the Moi way, there are chances that a lot of disrespect could, come up, and we wouldn't want it to go that way. We hope and we trust that he'll exercise wisdom, he'll exercise his judgment. He's a good politician, he's a wise man, and he'll decide the way he wants to exit. And the choice is his, by the way, and he has every right. If he feels there's somebody he wants to support and campaign for him, this is his right. But the repercussions are not predictable. People could react differently. I want to tell David Murathe, we have never sat as Jubilee to discuss the BBI, and he knows that. There is no party position. Even the party never gave opposition to the BBI. The president has never called us for a meeting, either a PG, any organ of the party, so that we discuss the BBI. Why we voted no in Parliament is because we are exercising our freedom. We are members of Parliament. Nobody carries our brains for us. We are not members of the praise and worship team. And I would be very worried as a country if we all went and voted like sheep. People have different ways and reasons. I consulted the people of Madeira who have elected me, and they have a problem with the BBI. And the court, the five-bench judge, the five judges bench has said there's a problem, and we don't want people to abuse these judges. The Constitution provides a mechanism. If you are not satisfied with the judgment, there is an appellate court where you go and say why you are not happy. But let us respect judges, let us respect the courts. But I think it is very arrogant for anybody to think that we can vote like sheep, like we have no brains of our own, like somebody else can carry brains for us. Oh, we don't belong to that era. We are people who are independent thinkers. We are people who have gone to school. We are people who can make independent decisions. And nobody can tell us. The only people who can have a problem with me are the people of Madeira.
So let me ask
you. The Jubilee never called us for a meeting where we took a position on the BBI. So everybody is free to do whatever he wants. Because if they wanted us to have a position as a party, we would have been called for a meeting. We discuss, we give our views, we argue about it, we agree on a party position. And even if today they wanted to discipline us, they'll take us nowhere because there is no party position. And Sophia, there is nowhere in Parliament where you are told you cannot exercise your mind. I think, and he has said rightly, I was in Kano. I was part of the Moi government. I saw it. What is happening in Jubilee is what happened to Kano. They were dictatorial, they were intolerant, they were unreasonable, they pushed people around too much. Everybody walked out and left Kanu as a shell. History is repeating itself. And I can tell David Murathe, when the history of the death of Jubilee is written, he'll have a big chapter.
And you told him that last time.
I have told him, and I'll keep on telling him.